Maybe it's linked to the downswing that I've been on, and I think I'm owed to win a big pot. That's something that short circuits the thought process. There has to be a thought process.
The kind of players that I work with are players that know a lot and don't take any time to feel. Usually these strong feelings of injustice that drive this kind of like response to take a stand and like defend ourselves come from very young places.
Hey there, Poker YouTube. This is a recording of a 30-minute coaching I did with a student. He volunteered to do this coaching specifically so that I could share it with you guys. So the audio quality is not great. I thought I was using this mic, and you can see me foolishly keeping it in front of my mouth, but I was not. I was using some other recording device. So not great, not the best audio, not terrible, very listenable, but I have more recordings of coachings I'll be releasing in the future. But I really thought this could be helpful to get an insight into, well, for one, the work that I do, but also if any of you are dealing with anything like Roberto was, then you will relate. And it's short. It's only about 20 minutes for a coaching session. Usually it's, they're about an hour, but we kind of get into how a particular quick reactivity, where that might be coming from. So certain things happen in the game and Roberto reacts very quickly to it, and he has a hard time in the moment, like inserting. It's too fast to really insert any strategy to do something while it's happening. So that's kind of what we get into. I hope you enjoy it, and there'll be more to come.
So it's Robert, right? Roberto?
Robert, whichever. Yeah.
All right. Well, why don't you tell me a bit about your like poker story, and we'll just start there. How'd you get into poker? What do you do now?
Well, I can start from the very early beginning. Early in the days, I was playing backgammon professionally when I was a kid. When Eric Seidel was playing backgammon.
Oh wow!
So I played with him in Monte Carlo. Yeah, but obviously, I doubt he remembers me because his career went in a different direction, and mine too. I kind of ended up, backgammon kind of fizzled out, and there's no real money in there, and I ended up doing various things, changing countries, moving around, and getting involved with business mostly. And then since 2008, 2010, I was playing very amateurish poker in my spare time. I got a little bit more serious, I'd say, in the last couple of years. And this year, I'm really serious, even though, like I'm kind of like Joe Biden in terms of age. But so I'm refusing to let go. I'm refusing to let go. But I'm a little bit younger than he is. Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say, how old are you?
I am 66.
66. You're significantly younger than
that. Yeah, I'm significantly younger, but 66 is a venerable age for poker. Sure. But anyway, I have been doing. I've got like 100,000 on Hand and Mob. I won a couple of MTTs of small size. I mean, like $500 once. I haven't played a lot of MTT. I'm playing mostly cash. I've been playing live cash mostly. And lately, when when I decided to get a little bit more serious, and I did all the CPS stuff, and I did a few sessions with Peter. and I do regular work on GTO Wizard. I'm actually the translator. I'm kind of bilingual, Italian and English. So I am the official translator for GTO Wizard. I translate the site into Italian. Um, and so I study on there. I'm playing online. I am beating.
So you're probably playing mostly 5-5 live. Is that right?
Yes, that's the game that is here in Sanremo where I live at the moment. I moved there a year and a half ago. Before we were living in another place in Italy. Before we were in Portugal. Before we lived in Miami, in Florida. Before I was living in South Africa. So I've been moving around. Sure. But anyway, thing is that the live poker scene. I have been playing a lot in London, for example. My daughter lives in London, and at the Hippodrome, there's small games like 1, 2, 2, 5. In Miami at the Hard Rock, there's the 2-5 game that I was playing in regularly, and I've always been winning. I've had like a pretty serious downswing last year, but last year I was distracted by a lot of other stuff, like my father dying and things and everything. So I ended the year losing a little bit for the first time since 2008. But the thing is that I track everything. I track everything. Online, I'm a slight winner at 50 NL. I'm trying to take a shot at 100 NL. At the moment, but that's the issue that I described in the DM that I sent you. It's exactly that. I think this stuff kills my win rate because one of the things, if you listen to Gareth Adelstein, it says my real skill is not that I'm particularly good at poker, but I win all the 1,000 blind pots. That's how I make my money, by winning those huge 1,000 blind spots. And that's how I lose my money. We're not talking about 1,000 blinds because I don't buy in like he does. I buy like a couple of hundred big blinds in the game. But
you lose the big pots.
Yeah, I end up losing big pots. In weird situation, you can say, you can say it's a setup. I mean, there's a very aggressive player on my left that has been 3-betting me a lot, and I button straddle. He raises over my button straddle. I've got kings. I 3-bet that. He 4-bets, and I go all in for 200 big blinds. That's a mistake, because I only get called by aces, which is what he had. But I build this story into my head that this guy is targeting me for whatever reason, and it's all questionable. Maybe you need to stack off with kings, but the point is that it goes button straddle to 10, he goes 30, I goes 140, he goes 400, and I go 2,000 without even, he hasn't finished saying 400, and I've already said 2,000. That's not how it works. I work.
How does it feel in that moment? Like, so you're in that spot. Like, what are you feeling?
What I'm saying. I don't know. I think, the one thing that I came up with is that maybe there is a fear that I want the tough spot to go away. I don't want to experience the tough spot. That's one thing I came up with, or the example that I put in the thing. It's just It's not
Let me
whether it's
give me
right
just
or wrong. The point is,
give me one
do
second to
I
reread what you
beat?
wrote.
Huh? Sorry.
Give me just 1 second to reread what you wrote real quick. In the Discord message. I just want to.
Yeah. Just look at the hand. I mean, it's interesting.
I'll just read it out loud so the people watching can. Okay, I'm playing live 5-5 and now with 1400 behind in the big blind with king of spades, jack of clubs. The recreational player opens middle position to 20, folds to me, and I call. Flop $45. Flop $45 in the pot. Board is jack 8-3 rainbow. Big blind checks. Middle position bets 30. Big blind calls. Turn is $105. Jack 8-3. King of clubs. So you have two pair. You have top two now.
Yeah.
Big blind checks. Position bets 75. Bet 70. Raise to 250. Middle position call. River comes the 10 of spades. So there's no flush, but a straight does complete. You bet 250. Middle position goes all in. Okay. I mean, this seems like this is not a. I mean, he could be value betting worse, I think. But it's thin to be calling. But either way, you're saying the results are important. What matters is when you're live with plenty of time available to me, you feel like some external entity steps into your body and says call without a second's hesitation. Before I had time to see how much he shoved for, look at him, think, interrogate your feeling. You're saying the dynamics of the hand, etc. If I were to bump into this person in the street, I would not recognize him. You feel okay. Maybe it's fear of being in a difficult spot, wanting to go away, but I'm not sure. Okay. Yeah, so let's dive into this because that's possible. One thing that I want to say, just the unfortunate thing about this format is I wish we could dive super deep, but I want to keep it manageable for people watching like a 20-30 minute video.
Mm-hmm.
One thing is, let me ask you this. Do you think in both of these spots, the unique one thing that stands out to you talking about the king's hand and this king jack hand is you're almost certainly also really excited about winning a big pot, right? Like once you get your hand,
it's maybe it's linked to the downswing that I've been on, and I think I'm owed to win a big pot. It's finally my moment, but that's something that short circuits the thought process.
Yeah,
because there has to be a thought process. I see there are players in this game that are that I know they haven't studied a tenth of what I have studied. They have no idea about range interaction. They have no understanding of knotted ranges that can beat larger and range advantage. They should bet smaller more frequently. I mean, this kind of stuff. They have no idea about these things. But before they put $10 into the pot, they hum and haw and they think and they look and they try to understand what's going on, and they don't, and I'm there like like throwing money away. I mean, like,
yeah.
and this
But
whatever
to be fair,
knowledge I have, it's not helping me.
Yeah. Yeah, but so you're talking about like I know players who don't know anything and yet they're taking the time to think. The kind of players that I work with are players that know a lot and don't take any time to feel. That's the main thing that I work with people is learning that we have to take time to feel. Because what's happening in this moment, because it's so fast, you and I are both at a bit of a lack of knowledge of what's happening here because it's so quick. But what we do know is that some experience, some feeling is rising up in you, and it has conditioned an immediate reaction to it, right? Be it fear, be it desire, be it excitement, be it entitlement about winning, a sense of justice, whatever it is, there's some feeling coming up And most players, even the ones who seem to be thinking, even the ones who don't know anything and are humming and hawing and going over things, really what they're doing, most of them, are just delaying the decision they know they're going to make already, right? Like most players who sit there thinking like, oh, blah, 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 they already know what they're going to do, because even those players who appear to be processing something aren't processing their feelings. They're resisting their feelings. They're letting their feelings drive their decision making.
Okay.
And the main thing that we need to work, that I would encourage you to work on, is before we even try to think, before we even attempt answering a problem-solving question, we need to answer the question, how do I feel in this moment? And then we need to allow ourselves time and space to feel that way. So if we're feeling afraid, we need to take time to say, I feel afraid, and to allow ourselves to feel that way. The reason feelings, there's nothing wrong with any feeling, first of all. Okay, so feeling entitled about winning, nothing wrong with that. Feeling afraid of an uncomfortable spot, nothing wrong with that. The reason these feelings start creating problems is not the feeling, but our reaction to them. This feeling comes up, we don't like the feeling, and we believe our behavior will fix it. Either I don't like being in a downswing and I'm really eager to win this pot, so I don't like the way that it feels, so I'm going for this big pot to win to try to end my downswing. Or I don't like this uncomfortable spot, or I don't like the fear of predicting an uncomfortable spot. Like I don't like how it feels to be thinking an uncomfortable pot is coming in the future. Whatever it is our relationship to that feeling, not the feeling itself, that drives our decisions. And so the best thing for us to work on is what I call expanding our circle of tolerance for what we can feel, for what we allow ourselves to feel. And so when you're in these spots, taking a moment, first of all, this feeling that you're having is almost certainly growing throughout the hand, right? It's probably not at the moment, but at the moment where you make a fast decision, it has become intolerable to you. This feeling has become too great, and you can't hold it anymore. And usually this is happening because the moment the feeling starts early in their hand, there's some resistance already. We're like already trying to fight. Like I don't want to. I know what happens when I feel this way. And when I feel this way, I make these decisions. And so we're fighting it the whole hand, and then it reaches an apex, and then we just snap, make a decision. And so what I would encourage you to do is in these spots, or in these big spots where these things are coming on, the first thing we need to do is investigate, what are we feeling? And we need to do it not intellectually, not like by thinking, but by feeling in our bodies. What am I feeling in my body? Because that's where our emotions and like these kinds of things show up, is where how am I feeling this way? Where do I feel it? And to give ourselves a moment to just let that feeling be. And usually what happens is that feeling passes, and then we can get back to asking ourselves the important questions of what are the range interactions, what are all of those things. But when we start asking, even if you gave yourself time to think and you were still in the grips of some strong feeling, you're not going to get clear answers to any of those questions anyway.
Yeah, the thing is that, I have worked I've worked a lot in on various aspects of this issue, and I've been doing all the reading, all the books. I have my regular meditation practice. I'm pretty self-aware in general, and I am kind of self-aware in the game. Usually something happens, there is a trigger that I haven't been able to identify, that kind of short circuits my thinking, because not my thinking, or my capacity to feel, And as you
Sure.
said, maybe it starts in the beginning of the hand. I mean, like when I start getting involved in the hand, and yeah, maybe I stop.
Is there a moment in your life? Let me just ask you this: is there a moment in your life that feels comparable to this outside of poker? Can you give me another situation where maybe something feels similar? Like, are there other areas of your life you feel similar kinds of reactivity?
Uh, yeah, if I don't know if I'm walking around with the dog and there is like and there is some sort of a challenge or something that says, oh no, your dog shouldn't be peeing here because that's our bins and we don't and we don't like that, or somebody said, oh, you're not keeping your dog on the leash,
Mm,
like this kind of stuff, like sometimes I have impulse reactions. I react impulsively in certain situations. Yes.
Say more. Say more. I'm just trying to get a picture of what this reactivity could be, because it seems that you feel that this reactivity seems
It's like
out.
more a feeling of being treated unfairly that triggers anger.
Mm,
Uh, and then I react too quickly.
yeah.
I don't take I don't take it in. I don't let it. I just snap back, and that's exactly what happens actually with poker. There's some sort of a challenge, and I snap back without
Mm,
giving myself the time to feel the feeling.
yeah. And that feeling is unfairness, like a lack of fairness.
It's a possibility. I'm trying to come
I mean,
up
it
with some.
sounds like you might feel like your current situation, like maybe these hands where you're in these big spots, they feel symbolic of the unfairness of the downswing. Like they feel,
I
does
don't
that
know,
sound
but uh, I don't know, but I drew I did. I think you're onto something in the sense that I've already in my personal exploration drew a parallel from impulse reaction in my life. Now, don't misunderstand me. I don't get into fights or into this happens to me. I would say like fairly rarely,
yeah.
but sometimes it happens, and I overreact. I mean, it could be with my wife as well.
Mm.
She'd say something, and I overreact to that.
Can you give me an
So
example?
this is like an overreaction. I don't know. That's the usual stuff. I mean, like you said, you were gonna eat ice cream, and now you went and I bought a tub, and you bought a tub of ice cream. So why do you say? And I said, what the fuck? I mean, just leave me alone and buy my ice cream. I'm like, I'm a grown
Mm.
man, and I want to buy my ice cream. Just leave me the fuck alone, which is an overreaction. Like
Is
it
there
could
something?
be.
Because I mean, that
It's
sounds
not
like a
like we, we,
different.
we hardly ever fight, so
Yeah.
it's not. But sometimes I
Mm,
snap back, and that's uncalled for. Yeah.
mm.
And that's what I
Yeah.
do. I think you're very right. I mean, this is what I do. I snap back. The guy
Yeah.
challenges me, going all in on my. I mean, like I've got top two, and I made a value bet, and the guy is challenging me. Well, I'm gonna fucking call you. And
If
that's
I
not
asked you for an
exactly
event,
how it works.
if I asked you for an event when you were much younger, a time where you felt like life or someone treated you unfairly, would anything come to mind?
Oh
I'm thinking
yeah,
young
well, I
child.
mean that's I know I was treated unfairly, and when I grew up, I mean, like my father wasn't very emotionally aware, and he was like he could be violent. Yeah. So that's definitely something that has had I'm sure has had an impact throughout my life.
Yeah. I think that's probably very important in this usually these strong feelings of injustice that drive this kind of like response to take a stand and like defend ourselves come from very young places, come from places where we weren't strong enough to take a stand, where we didn't have what it took to defend ourselves, and we've made this situation symbolic of that in some way. And I can't get too much more into this because we just don't have the time, but I would encourage two things.
Uh-huh.
One, in the aftermath of these moments, when you snap back a decision, and maybe it's in the aftermath where these feelings they're kind of in the the after the after effects, you can still kind of feel the feelings coursing through you, to be very kind to yourself. That's the first thing. After you make these snap decisions where you feel like you made a bad poker decision, to reframe that situation as like a poker mistake into a moment of human suffering for you, Roberto, and to look at that as like, oh, this was a moment where something in me felt the need to take a stand. And I oftentimes, if we don't have the kind of awareness in the moment because we're so reactive, and from something like you just shared with me, it makes sense you would have these very quick reactions, very defensive, very fast reactions to take a stand. And
Mm-hmm.
if you don't have it in the moment to kind of like soothe your nervous system, the moments immediate following are critical. How we relate to what just happened instead of looking at ourselves. Because really what happened is probably there's some wiring from us as a child that is like, I'm going to stand up for myself. I'm not going to take this. And if we, in the moments afterwards, if we just look back at that and think, man, what a bad decision. Like, well, I didn't do this thing right. We're just chastising that kid. That's all we're doing. We're just, again, looking at that kid that's inside of us and being like, what did you do? You did something bad, do better. And really what that kid needs is comfort and love and support. And so looking back at those moments and finding the kid in us that wants to take a stand, and instead saying, it's okay. You're okay. I got you. And slowly in those moments, that part of you will start to feel more comfortable and more safe, more protected by you. It doesn't need to take a stand against the world. You're supporting it. You're taking care of it. And the other thing that might be useful is to imagine go back to some of these moments where you felt very mistreated, and to offer that version of yourself, that child, some love and support and care. Like, do an exercise where you actually think, what were some of my moments where I was the most afraid, the most scared, the most defensive, and show up for him. And that should at least bring down some of this immediate reactivity to where you can actually start working with the feelings that show up there. Right.
Okay, that actually resonates with me. I know that you're short on time now, but the interesting thing is that I do have I have the opportunity to explore that, and I do think about it, and yes, there is the immediate reaction that is, what the fuck is wrong with me, like doing this thing, and I can try and make a shift from there, because I also, like, I'm not a tilter. I lose a pot like this, I feel that I'm not emotionally stable anymore. I just quit. I don't really, and it's not even rage quit. It's just, I get like depressed, and I say, like, what the fuck? What did I do? Why do I do this? And maybe I need to be a bit more understanding towards myself.
Definitely. Anything that we have a hard time loving in ourselves, we don't truly understand. Anything you
Right.
understand about yourself, natural reaction will be love and kindness and compassion. So anytime these moments happen and any other future reactions, the best thing we can bring is this like compassionate curiosity to what is Roberto going through. And that's gonna be your best friend through not just this, but all of life. Yeah.
Okay. Well, this was definitely valuable.
I appreciate it.
And I don't know,
Yeah. I'll have to call it there, but thank you so much. And feel free to message me on Discord if you have any follow-up questions or anything you want to talk about.
All right, guys. Well, that was it. I hope you enjoyed it. Please, if you are looking for coaching, I do donation-based coachings once a week, 1 day a week, every Friday. I have multiple slots open. Those are available on my website, jaredalderman.com. Please like and subscribe if you enjoy this video, and I hope to bring lots more valuable content to you guys in the future. And until next time.